Join us, it is the Empower Talk, Empower Show. The Empower Talk, the Empower Show. The Empower Talk Show.
So welcome to Empower Talk with PJ Edmund. That's who I am, Edmund. I'm so honored just to be here to talk with you about things that impact our lives, our leadership, our business. Are you frustrated with not getting things done? All of us have been there where we plan things and we want to make sure that we complete things in a certain time. And yet there are always things that seem to come up that prevent us from finishing. It is a gift to be able to finish. All of us want to do that. But yet there are so many important things that we start, we're unable to finish for various reasons. But I want to talk to you just for a few minutes about the motivation of procrastination. How about that? The motivation of procrastination. Because all of us have to deal with this procrastination thing where we don't attack things the way we need to, whether we don't plan things the way that we need to. And it's really, really important that we spend time trying to figure this out, because there's no sense in having a vision, having a plan, and we don't complete it. And so as business owners, as leaders, as people of excellence, we always want to make sure that we at least finish what we've started. So to overcome that, we have to deal with, first of all, motivation, and then we have to deal with procrastination. So let's chat about that for a little bit. Sometimes we pull things apart so much that we don't know how to put it back together again. And procrastination is one of those things, right? We attack it, we want to understand it, we want to define it, we want to figure it out, and we want to read everything there is to be read about it, we want to analyze it, we want to consult with it. And yet sometimes we have so much, there's a plethora of so much information that at the end of our research and our study, we still don't know how to fix procrastination, or what is it that prevents us from becoming what we want and from doing what we want to do. So we could go through this the intellectual route. We could research and we could define things, which I think, all of us like to do so that we can manage things. But I want to suggest a couple of things. First of all, you have to understand the thing, and then you have to put a structure around it so that you're able to accomplish the things that you planned. So I don't want to talk about studying procrastination. What I want to talk about is studying you. What are your habits? What are the things that you do? You know yourself better than, greater than anyone else that you know. And sometimes it's really difficult to fix a problem and we don't understand the why. The why is you. And sometimes we are always looking externally for answers and solutions when, to be honest, if you spend enough time with yourself and really analyze what you're doing, we already have the answers within us. We will come to them as we begin to critically look at what our habits are, what our practices are, and what is it that we do to make sure that we're successful. So this is not going to be, a detailed plan for how do we define procrastination. We know what it is. It just stops us. It delays us. It denies us from achieving things which are really important. And there are a lot of us, I know, because we've had to always overcome certain things that want to really minimize the time that we waste, the time that we spend not actually following through with what we plan to do. Follow up is key. It's easy to dream. It's easy to deliver a vision. It's easy to write a plan. I mean, it looks glorious. It looks fabulous. And we get caught up in the excitement of what that plan is and what that dream is and what that ability is. But yet the plan really is not going to be effective unless we can actually execute some things, put timelines on some things, and make sure that it happens. So sometimes we get bogged down trying to analyze and intellectualize things, when sometimes we need to identify the why. Where is the problem? And many times it's within ourselves. And if you're like me, you don't need to tell me what my problems are. I know what they are. The issue is, how do I manage this? How do I deal with this? And how do I begin to move into some areas where I can be successful and deal with the procrastination? And the only thing that's going to handle procrastination is motivation. So the first study is us, our habits and our ways, and the things that we talk ourselves out of. Isn't that amazing? The things that we talk ourselves out of. One moment we are just exuberant about what we're trying to do. In the next moment, because we become uncertain, we have anxiety or we have fear, we then use the same energy to undo what we just did in our minds. And I think that as you study yourselves, if you know that's your habit, spend time studying why you do the things that you do and list all the things that need to be answered, all the challenges, all the things that trip you up, all the things that make things difficult for you. And then begin to analyze you, not the thing. We can define the thing, but what is the thing that's going to what is the thing that's going to create the motivation in you to solve that procrastination issue? The issue is you. It's us. It always is. But until we know why we are being denied or delayed, and of course, it brings with it all types of frustration and anxiety. If we had $1 for every plan that we made, certainly our businesses would be a lot further than what they are right now, and our abilities would be higher than what they are right now. But we've got to study ourselves because motivation is the only thing. Can I say it again? Motivation is the only thing that's going to really deal with procrastination because it's going to hit us at every point of our plan. But our response must be things happen to us all the time. But the question is, what is your response going to be? How do we trigger the motivation that overcomes procrastination? So when we study ourselves critically, we look at the things that we hold on to. We look at the reasons why we give up so easily. Isn't this a trait of all of us? That sometimes when things become hard, we have a tendency to think that that's not the way that it should go. Nothing worthwhile, nothing productive, nothing that's going to mean anything is not going to happen, is going to always happen with a struggle. There is something meaningful in the times of uncertainty. There's something meaningful when we don't understand how we're going to do it. It makes us search. It actually creates creativity. When we run into things that we cannot solve, what this should do is trigger a different set of energy or a different level of energy that makes us want to do more because we have to get past certain points. In every process, there's a pain point, right? There are things that we hit that cause us discomfort. And if we can work through, if we can run through, if we can deal with the pain points, then we will get to the purpose of the thing. So we need to understand ourselves. Well, that's not so easily done. But begin to journal, begin to jot down the things that you do. Look at yourself critically. Think about why you do it. Journal why you do it and what is the result of that. Because once we can understand why we are the way we are, then we can begin to put a structure around how to solve the things that seem to always elude us. Plans have to be made. Things have to be done. We have to be successful. But until we can manage the things that come against us, it's not necessarily. We always figure out or we always focus on what is for us. We need to figure out what's against us. If you can figure out what is against you, then you can harness and redirect the energy that's with you or for you so that you can be successful in everything that you do. So understanding self, understanding you, your environment, the people around you, the things that encourage you, and the things that deflate you, the things that demean you, the things that slow you down or make you feel as though it's not possible. Because certainly the inspiration comes to make plans, but then after inspiration, we need determination. And after determination, we need dedication. It's those things that push us through the process so that we can actually achieve the conclusion of our goals. Inspiration is wonderful, but right after inspiration, you're going to need some motivation to be able to carry out what it is that you need to do. Once you understand yourself, then you can begin to apply the principles that you've learned about yourself to help overcome those things. Think about the things that we say to other people, how we advise other people, how we counsel or guide other people. Think about all the things that your colleagues and your counterparts or your business associates, what they come to you for, and apply those very same values, those very same principles to your situation. Because the only thing that can overcome procrastination is motivation. Understanding self is hard. It's difficult, but it's well worth the fight because once we can solve Our moments where we lull, our low energy, where we have no synergy, when we have no inclination, when we're tired and fatigued. We have to learn ourselves, right? We have to learn, are we a morning person or an afternoon person? We have to figure out what our tendencies are, what our patterns are. And so whatever procrastination is, and we could define that to the hilt, it makes no difference because it's always going to be there. Discouragement is always going to be there. But we've got to learn to use the power of discouragement and make it work for our good. Every seasoned salesman know, not somebody selling things, but a sailor. What sailors do, experienced sailors do, whenever they run into a storm, they don't panic. My first instruction or my first thing to share with you is just don't panic. What the seasoned sailor does is realize that there is energy in difficulty. There's energy in a storm. And what they have a tendency to do is not fight the storm, but simply adjust their sails so they can use the energy of the situation to profit them and to get them to where they need to be. Can I suggest that you're not entirely done with, you're not entirely broken, that you're not entirely without ideas? You don't need to transform a thing so drastically, but we do need to adjust. But in order to adjust, we need to understand who we are and what our tendencies are so that we can begin to encourage ourselves so that we might be able to complete everything that we need to complete. So motivation is the key. Procrastination is the enemy, but motivation is the key. When we understand that and we can score where it is that we know we're weak, then nothing's a problem when you make your problem your goal. Nothing is going to defeat you when you're actively working on those things that will bring you to where you absolutely need to be. So list all of your challenges, all of your weaknesses. It's difficult to look at it, but if you don't look at it, you'll never be able to solve it. You've got to see the problem before you can solve it. You've got to understand the nature of it before you can begin to devise what it's going to be to fix it. So once you list all of the things that challenge you, then you can turn around and look at the list of things that cause you discomfort and begin to itemize, what am I going to work on? What am I going to fix? What am I going to conquer? And here's the word, what am I going to adjust? You're closer to being successful than you think you are. Because sometimes whenever it gets tough or it gets difficult, it's an indication, it's an indicator that you're actually making more progress than you think you are. Adversity does not stop you. Challenges do not stop you. The struggle shouldn't stop you. It should let you know that because you're making progress, then there are forces that are going to come against you in order for you to achieve what you need to achieve. So motivation, so understand self, and then we can put structure around it. And then you've got to get around, you've got to breathe different air. You've got to get around people who understand this, who are successful in overcoming the procrastination issue. And it's not so much learning so much about their tactics, but understanding that they're successful in what they do. And everyone faces it. Right now, somebody's facing something crazy, something critical. And because of that, already the negativity is started. And once the negativity begins to roll, then it moves from there. And all of a sudden, this thing that you thought was manageable seems to be incredibly difficult. But that's when we need to spark. And that's when we need to tell ourselves, here's what we need to do. That's when we need to remind ourselves that just because it's difficult does not mean it's not doable. That just because I'm failing does not mean I'm a failure. And just because it's not happening does not mean that I don't have the skills to overcome it. So let your motivation win over your procrastination. Every time you feel like not doing it, find another level, go deep, find another position, find another strategy, find another skill, find something else that will help you to move beyond that. And then if the goal is too big, break that goal down. Take one step at a time. Sometimes you try to make quantum leaps and go to the next level and go to the next dimension. How about conquering just one step that will get you closer? I heard someone say that if you cannot get to a thing, take the step towards it. As long as you're making progress, as long as you begin to get success, then we know that as long as you know how to motivate yourself, then things will happen. Motivation is the key to procrastination. If you keep saying that to yourself, that motivation is the key to procrastination. This is Empower Talk with PJ Edmund. Join me next time.